G'day, my name is David and I love my gardening. Today I wanted to do a video on composting. I'm always asked how I grow such magnificent vegetables and what is my secret. Well, my number one secret, biggest tip, is make your own homemade compost. I'm lucky I've got quite a large property and I've got the space where I can put a system in place. And what I have is a 4-bin compost made up of old plastic pallets, recycled plastic pallets. So these were left out in the curb. They cost me nothing. I found these in an industrial estate out on the street. So I like to use what I can get, and stuff that you can get for free is good. And most of these are old recycled plastic, made out of recycled plastic. So it's good to use these. And I've made up 5 bins for those who can count better than I can. But I say 4 because these 4 bins are where I rotate my compost. So this first bin here, or second bin, is where I make up a batch. And once it's done cooking, I then flip it into there. I add other things to it, flip it into the 3rd bin. And then the final bin, in theory, is ready to go and put out into the garden. It is autumn here in Melbourne, Victoria, 2022. This bin here, I'm not happy with the final compost I have. To me, it is very loamy, very sandy, very dry. Actually so dry, it's actually hydrophobic. And what do I mean by hydrophobic? If you actually get some water and put the water on it, you'll notice that it actually runs off. It doesn't actually soak in to the soil, so it actually beads up and doesn't absorb it. What does that mean? It means there's not enough organic matter. It's a very, this one here is a very, probably nitrogen rich. There's a lot of brown when I made up that mix. So what I'm doing is I'm amending it, and I'm actually tipping it back into this 3rd bay here. So yesterday I've started putting this in here. And what do I do to fix it? I actually put in a lot of green matter. So my actual 1st bay, 5th bay, is where I collect all my grass clippings, leaves, cuttings of plants. Everything goes into this bin here. And that's what I used with these subsequent bins. When I turn it over, I add more green into it until I end up with a mix I'm happy with. Subject to this session today is I'm not happy with the final mix. It's winter, so I've got plenty of time to fix this up. So how do I do it? What do I do? When I started this bin yesterday morning, I put in a layer of grass clippings, probably about 5 to 6 inches of grass clippings. Then I put in, I wet it. It's really important. Think of your green matter and the other things you put in there. Think of that as the fuel, and think of water as the ignition. What water does is when it's added to the green matter, it promotes the growth of molds, all the different things that break down that organic matter and turn it into nutrients. Without water, if you have a dry mix like this, there's not much of a reaction going on. There's not much breaking down, and you're not generating all of those nutrients that you need. So I like to make up a compost lasagna, I like to call it. So a layer of green matter, I put in a layer, I'll wet it, then I'll put in some soil, about 4 or 5 inches of soil on top of it, wet it. Then I actually add cardboard or paper, whatever I have as far as cardboard or paper. That's a good brown sauce that you put in. And a really important thing that I do with that, excuse this mess, I actually leave all my cardboard out. I leave it out in the rain, the sun and the shine, and it starts to break down. As it breaks down, it gets mouldy. You get different things happening to it. It starts to get all of that. It gets all of the things on it that live living things. You can see like a mycelium here from a mushroom or some other kind of fungus in the soil. This is live stuff that is breaking that cardboard down into its essential elements that are just fantastic for your garden. So by wetting it and leaving it out like this, you start the process. When you put that into here in the layers, it's a spark. It just sets things off. So you can see some old cardboard I've put here. It's all mouldy. It's full of bugs, molds, and different things. So it actually helps initiate that process to start breaking down the organic matter in here and combining it with the soil. The other thing is worms love this. When you get the worms in your compost, the worms will actually lay their eggs in there. They love feeding on this. There's a real spark for the process of creating compost. So again, the lasagna, simple, green matter, put in 5-6 inches, some soil, 5-6 inches every time between each layer, wet it down. You don't want to hose it, you just want to wet it. You want to wet it down. You don't want this a sopping mess. You want a aerobic breakdown. That meaning that the air is in between. If you have a anaerobic, if it's absolutely soaking wet, there's no air in there and you end up having a wrong reaction. That's when you end up with a really smelly compost. So you know you've done too much, it's too wet. So grass, dirt, cardboard, wet it down, grass, dirt, cardboard, keep on layering it up. I'll fill this up to the top today, and by next week it'll actually settle down. How do you know that there's the process is sparking along and is breaking down? I use these thermometers which I bought on Amazon. So these Amazon thermometers you can put in here. These ones are a metre long, just over a metre long. Push these down, and you can tell when it actually heats up, you know that the process is happening. This has been sitting here for over a month, so there's no process happening at the moment, so it's quite cool. But these will kick on. So that's how I make my compost. Autumn, winter is a great time to be doing compost in preparation for spring. Come August, I'll be putting the soil into the garden in preparation for my spring planting. If you have any other questions about composting, why I do certain things, other amendments I put in, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Like, share, give us a thumbs up. I love my gardening. So just a quick little demonstration of how you can tell when there's a reaction happening and why I love these little thermometers. I recommend that anyone who's making home compost should grab one of these off of Amazon. Absolutely fantastic. Really tells you what's going on. This is a bin that's been sitting here. I turned over probably 2 months ago, and you can see by the temperature it's in the cold range. We're in Australia, but unfortunately this is a Fahrenheit, but you're looking for, when the needle's up into green, you know that there's a breaking down and composting going on in the garden. And, there's heat. Heat is a byproduct of the decomposition. So you know that there's a reaction going on and things are breaking down. So this is stopped. This is cold. This compost is cold. So there's no breaking down going on here. So either one of two things has happened. The heap has dried out and it's too dry and there's no decomposition going, or the heap has finished doing its decomposition and this is ready to put out. So you can, a way that you tell that is by actually having a dig and seeing if you're happy with the organic content and that. But I can tell straight away that this is very dry. It's dried out. It's been a very dry summer here in Melbourne, so that I need to do some stuff to amend that. This is the pile I just turned over from yesterday, started doing yesterday, and I finished just doing that now. and I've done my lasagna method and added water in, and already 24 hours later, so I turned this over yesterday, it was an empty bin, and you can see that we're up into the green. So straight away, adding water, adding green matter, straight away, you're getting decomposition, you're getting the breaking down, turning that green matter into yummy stuff for next season's vegetables. So definitely worth spending the dollars and getting these thermometers. And when you do get them, get this extra outside rim, just to makes it so much easier to push this down in the compost, especially when you've got layers of cardboard. Without that, it's probably very easy to break these. So that's a separate ring that you can buy as an optional extra. Definitely get that protective ring. But there's the proof in the pudding. This is starting to cook and do what it's supposed to be doing. Makes it so much easier. Hope you've liked the video. Please share and tell your friends about it. Well, I'm back. I was really interested to see how this pile went that we turned over last week, and we folded in the grass clippings from the first bay. I've brought down a fresh batch today to add to this pile. But 7 days later, check this out. We have got extremely hot. So just that addition of the green back into the pile, that is just fantastic. So this pile is doing what it's supposed to be doing, adding some moisture in and adding the green. This is cooking away fantastic. That's just shows you that moisture is the ignition, having that there to get the breaking down, the anaerobic, the air, mixing in the green. It's doing its job. Great stuff. Hope you enjoyed.